LA Times reporter Melanie Mason is in Des Moines. She's been following the Biden campaign. She's on the phone now with us. First of all, what in the world is going on with the vote tally tonight?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine at this point. I, too, need some help. I think that this has really been a pretty bewildering day for Iowans and for the media that is trying to cover it. So I actually am about to leave the Biden event and head over to the Iowa Democratic Party, because that's really where the real action is at that party headquarters tonight.
Melanie, talk about a little bit about when people started to get this confusion feeling. I mean, and did it grow over time? Like, what the heck? I mean, what are they saying?
It felt about, I would say, around 9 p.m. Central that, there had been a lot of anecdotal information that had been coming out on Twitter or, in the caucus sites where TV cameras were. And so you were seeing anecdotal information coming in. But then when we saw the first sort of inkling that the Democratic Party itself would not be releasing this first round of votes, I think that there was a question of, how much is this a temporary delay or not? I think that as that delay started to grow, and we started to get to the 10 o'clock hour, and now we're halfway to the 11 o'clock hour, I think that there's this realization that this could be a very long night.
And do you believe that it has to do with the fact that this app is either not working or that they're doing quality control because maybe they fear that the app is not working as well as they had hoped?
That's some of the reporting that we've done and that we've also seen from other news outlets. So I've spoken to a county party chair who said that the app, while they were able to get it work, it took a very long time for it to work, and then it took them very long to actually get on the phone with the party to relay those results. And then I know that there have been other LA Times reporters who've spoken to county chairs elsewhere in the state who have had similar situations. One of the things to keep in mind is that there is a paper trail. I witnessed this at the caucus site that I was at. There is a lot of assiduous documentation on paper about the tallies, but you're not going to get that instantaneous result that you might have seen from being transmitted in an app. So I think that technology, when it works, could be a blessing, but I think we're seeing here when the glitches happen, that's when folks can start to get frustrated.
Melanie, you've been out there on the trail covering the campaign for a while, and I'm just wondering, when we look back at this tomorrow, what the candidates will make when the narrative is not just about the campaign, it's about the process of voting tomorrow. They're going to have to dust themselves off and try to kind of find a way to get back on track, it would seem like.
Absolutely. I think we were anticipating, no matter what, that it would be battle of the spin. Because we had seen for the poll results that were coming out in advance of the caucus, there was a real cluster among, the top candidates were all clustered very tightly together. And so it wasn't necessarily clear if there would be one runaway winner. I think we were all anticipating battle of the spin the coming day anyway, about was it raw vote total that mattered, or number of delegates, or was somebody going to talk about how well they did in Republican-leaning areas of the state. Now, of course, they have to conquer the spin of, the Democratic Party and its sort of competence on the state level. But again, remember, there are a lot of big news stories going on. There is the State of the Union on Tuesday. There's the ongoing impeachment trial. And so I do wonder if while right now all of the eyes of the world are on Iowa, they're going to be moving very quickly. And I do wonder if the maybe embarrassment of this caucus night glitch will also sort of be pretty quickly lost to the crazy news cycle.
Melanie, can you give us any insight into voter turnout? Because we feel like so far from what we've heard, it didn't surge the way some people thought it might. But we don't know because it's hard to get information right now.
Again, we're dealing with a lot of anecdotal information. So I did see that the state party put out a statement saying that it looked like from the 25% of turnout results that they had so far, that the caucus was on track for 2016 turnout. I think that the big barometer everyone was looking for was 2008, which of course had the surge in turnout. But again, I think because we are seeing such sort of haphazard glimpses throughout the state. And of course, remember, most of the reporters are stationed in the Des Moines area. So I think we're maybe getting an overrepresentation of that urban center in the state. I would caution in drawing too many conclusions from the information we have right now.
Hey, Melanie, can I ask you one question just about the candidates and kind of the tone of the campaign that you've seen there on the ground in Iowa lately? I mean, all the polling, at least except for the last Des Moines Register poll, which we didn't see, suggested Senator Sanders is that guy, he's going to be in front. Is there any way that Sanders can do anything that, gets him better momentum? I mean, it's almost like the expectation is that Sanders comes out on top. How does he not kind of get lost in the story in a way. If, you know, Mayor Pete comes in or something else. I mean, what is the feeling there about like whether there's a hard-baked perception is what's going to happen tonight out of this?
Yeah, I think that the expectation game is almost as important as the delegate chase, right? And so I do think that there was an expectation for Bernie Sanders to perform strongly. But I do think that he has an advantage in heading into the next contest, which is New Hampshire. It's his neighboring state from his home state of Vermont. He performed very well there in 2016. And so I'd anticipate that he is going to be getting large crowds. And trying to build on this sense of momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sanders campaign, in addition to most of the campaigns, start slicing and dicing the results to try and emphasize parts of their narrative. So, for example, the Sanders campaign was really intent on turning out Latino caucus goers here in Iowa. Iowa, of course, is not necessarily seen as a particularly diverse state, but there is a not insignificant population of Latinos, and the Sanders campaign put a lot of energy into turning them out. If we do see that he performs well in those areas, then I would anticipate that would then feed his narrative going into a state like Nevada that has a lot of Latino voters. So I think that it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure now for all of the campaigns, what they'd like to highlight. I think that was likely going to be the case no matter what happened, and I think that the muddledness of the results only adds to that.
Muddled indeed. Thank you so much, Melanie. We really appreciate it. We know you're hustling to another location right now.
Yes, I'm going to have to take off, but thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, Mel.
Absolutely.